Hey, it's another Friday freebie video, and this one I've been looking forward to for a while. We're back on the Baccarat scene, and I'm going to show you something that I haven't tried yet. So believe it or not, this is the first. So we're going to walk through this together. This is not a basic scenario, but I think everybody can pick up on this pretty quickly. So let's try to jump in here and we'll get right into it. So once again, we're going to try to pair something that I've done for a long time and was very successful with our ultra conservative money management concept. So if you remember, let's go back here. Anybody who hasn't seen this before, this is what we're doing for the last few videos. It's a 3-bet system, right? And win or loss determines what the next 2 bets in the sequence are. So to repeat it again, if we're betting $100 and we win, the next 2 bets, win or loss, are the same amount. If our first bet is $100 and we lose, our next 2 bets are going to be half that amount. Now, before I go forward, there was somebody asked me, well, how do you ever come back? And that you can't come back from that. Well, that's ridiculous. That's because you're obviously not understanding the concept of either flat betting or conservative betting. The difference between what you may be used to doing and trying to come back and get a profit on every single result is what makes your system aggressive and unsustainable in most cases. So the point by doing any type of conservative betting system like this is not to come back instantly. It's to understand that this is a long-term scenario. And instead of jumping off a cliff to try to make ourselves profit on the very next bet, we understand that it's a process. We are not trying to make our money back on the next bet. That's the entire point. All right, so I'm not going to go any further on that. If you don't understand long-term results and long-term consistency, then that's something I can't teach you. All right, so here we go. So this is a version. Some of you have seen things that are similar to this bet selection. A year ago, they would call this or something similar. It's not an exact version of that as to the Hong Kong method or something like that. Mr. Raphael has done similar things. There's other channels that have shown things. This is my version of it, all right? So, and I've done it multiple different ways. So this time we're going to stick to something that's a little closer to the original, just because we're trying to compare it with that money management, and that's really all that we're doing. In the private, Cruise Casino Mafia's private section at cruisecasinomafia.com, we have a different version of this bet selection that's different than what I'm going to be using here. So anybody that's a member, you can certainly try, and hopefully people have done this. I love this concept, and lots of people have modified it and tweaked it to fit themselves. We're going to go back to a little bit more basic of a concept here. So if you've never seen this before, what we're doing is we're using the last 3 bets, okay, as our guide. Well, the first 3 bets as our guide. So why don't I just show you? That's probably easier. So this is the beginning of the shoe, and I usually like doing this at the beginning. Forget about that. That's a tie. Ties don't matter in this situation. All right, so we have a player. So what we're going to put up here is we're going to put a P for player. Okay, P for player. Why is that so small? Let's see if we can make this bigger so we can see it and bold it. Okay, P for player. And then our second trial result is going to be a P as well. Okay, so we're going to put a P there. And once again, it's way too small. Way too small. So let's do that and do that. And our next results, we're going to get 3 results to give us our map, okay, or our code for this shoe. So here we go. So that's a banker, and that's our final one. So it's PPB, right, that we're going to use. And again, anybody who wants to say, Well, there's no holy grail bet selection. Guess what, mister? We agree. You don't have to put that in the comment section. We understand there's a million different bet selections. We use whatever bet selection we decide to use. That's up to you. I'm simply using this bet selection and pairing it with a conservative money management. So please do not tell me that this is not the holy grail bet selection. What a surprise. Okay, so here we go. All right, so we now have our 3 at the top, right? Our map, PPB. So now we're going to wait for our first result. Okay, and I screwed up already. How do you like that? So what we needed to do here, okay, we needed to move this over. That's the point. All right, this is in the wrong place. So we're going to copy that and we're going to put it here. Okay, we're going to paste it here. There we go. All right. And we're going to do one more freebie here. We needed 4. I'm sorry. Okay, so there it is. So that's going to be banker. I forgot that we're doing this a little different than we usually do. And we'll make that yellow so it doesn't stand out and annoy the hell out of me. Okay, we're ready to go. So we got four maps or 4 codes that we're going to use, right? So, or results. So here we go. So now the next one is going to be our trigger. And what we're looking for, we're not betting this one. We're going to deal. And we got a player result. So because the player result matches the one above it, that means that it is a match or a mirror, whatever way you want to call it. So we're going to say mirror. So we're just going to put an M there, right? And we know it's a mirror. So now what ends up happening is we are going to bet, our next 3 bets are going to be for mirror. If we win, we're done. We're done if we win here, right? If we win. And remember, we're using our other bet progression from here. Okay? So let's see how this plays out. I haven't done this yet, so let's use let's just use $100 bets because it's easier for us to do, right? So we're betting for a mirror here because a mirror came out on our first trigger. So we're going to bet for a mirror here, which means we're going to bet banker. Player. I'm sorry, we're going to bet player. And it's a tie. So we are going to repeat the bet and we're going to deal. And we won, okay? So because we won our first bet, we're not going to make our next 2 bets, okay? If we win our first bet, we're going to stop, all right? We're going to stop. So we are going to, and that's a little different than what we've been using this money management, but I think we're going to try it that way. So we're going to put a 1 here that we won, right? Or a win. How about that? We're just going to do a W here. And then we'll put a +1 here. How's that? And there's a couple of different ways we can play this, right? We could play the next 2, right, at the same amount like we've been doing, right? We could do that. But we're going to try it this way. And I would say to you that since this is the first time we're demoing this, give it a shot playing it out with the other 2 bets and see what happens. But for our demo, we're going to probably play it a little bit closer to the vest. So there you go. So that's a +1, right? So we've locked up 1 unit, and we're going to keep it like that. Now, we're still going to do the 2 freebies for right now. Let's do the 2 freebies, even though we're not betting. All right, that's a player. So that's going to be a NM, no mirror, and we'll do 1 more. And that is a banker, so that is a mirror. So you would have won 2 out of the 3. You would have won 2 out of 3. So you would have been positive here. You would have actually made 2 units in this row. So that's interesting to note. So maybe if you want to test this, maybe you should try playing it out with the 3 bets win or lose like we've been doing. I decided not to do it. Maybe that's the right move, but that's why we're testing. So now let's go on to the second row. We're always going to use this as our map, so to speak, or our code. So we're going to take another freebie here that's going to tell us whether we're going to be betting mirror or no mirror. All right? So here we go. So freebie hand. And it was a player, which means that it matches this up here. So it is another mirror. All right, we're up 1 unit right now. As usual, we've been looking for 4 to 7 units or so in our reasonable expectations. So we're going to be betting player again here, right? Because we're looking for the mirror of the original player at the top that we're using, right? So here we go. So let's bet player. And we lose. Okay, we lose. So that's a -1. Okay, and now we're going to keep betting, but remember, using this, because we lost that bet, we're now going to jump into our half bets here. Okay, and let's see how that plays out. So now, we're now gonna, because this was a no mirror, So here's the variable here. Okay, you can play all 3 of these, looking for the initial mirror, right? And you can test this too. That's the whole point of me showing this. You guys can do this. You can test it. Or you can say this row is strictly mirror bets, right? Our bets are strictly mirror for this 3. And you know what we'll do? We'll keep it in line, and we're going to do mirror bets for all of this row. But you can do your testing, and you can see what seems to work best. But I'm going to do the whole row based on whether we had a mirror or a no mirror here. And that's going to be an interesting test for you guys to do on your own. So we're going to go with a mirror, which means we're betting banker. And we're going to be betting half bets for these 2, whether we win or lose, right? So now we're going to be betting $50 bet on banker. And we win. Okay, so that's a win. And we're going to put, I don't know what we're going to do. We'll put 0.5 here because it's a half, right? And then, so we know when we have to add it up here, what the story is. So now, let's keep going. So now our next bet is going to be another half bet, the last half bet. And it's going to be on banker, right? Because we're betting for the mirror again here, the banker. So it's a repeat bet, and we're dealing. And we win. Okay. So once again, this row ends up being a total of a 0, right? A 0. We had a loss and we had 2 half bet wins, so that's a 0. So we didn't lose anything, we didn't capture anything, we didn't gain anything, no big deal. And that's the way that this works, right? So now let's go and do our free hand for the 3rd row. So far, I'm really liking this, guys. And that's a banker, so that's a no mirror, right? Because there's a player up here. So I think this is going to really be interesting to do a lot more testing on this. I'm really liking the pairing of this bet selection with our money management so far. I really am liking this. Okay, so here you go. So this row is going to be a no mirror row. So we're going to be betting against this, right? We're going to be betting against this. So we're going to bet the opposite. So there's a player on the code. We're going to be betting a banker for the full bet because we're back at the top again, right? The full bet, the $100 bet on banker. So here we go. Let's see if we win or lose. We win. Okay. So there we go. So that's a win. And that's going to be a lockdown of another unit bet. That's 2 bets won, right? 2 bets won. So let's color that green. And we've locked up 2 units. We know we're not going to be betting here because we won on column 1, but we're still gonna play out the 2 bets. That's a player, right? That's a player. So that would have won also because we're in the no mirror phase, right? Right? The no mirror phase all the way across. All right. And one more. Let's deal this. And that would have been a player. So the question ends up being then, so far we would have been better off, right? Playing out, even if we won in column 1, we would have been better off so far in this tiny sampling of playing out the extra 2 bets, right? playing out the extra 2 bets. We would have had an additional unit here, 1. We did play out the extra 2 bets here because we lost on the first one, and we would have won 2 more units here. So we would currently be up 3, 4, 5. We'd be up, I'm sorry, 4, 5. No, we'd be up, this would have been a win and a loss. So I'm sorry, that would have been wrong. This would have still been 1 win because we would have won and lost. This would have been 2 extra wins. So we'd be up 3, 4. We'd be up 4 units already in 3 rows. Not bad. Okay, so that's something to think about. That's something to think about. That if we're playing this conservative money management, maybe we need to play out all the bets. I don't know. That's up to you guys to test, and I'm certainly going to test it as well. So let's go ahead. We're back on column 1 again, and we're going to do a free one, a free hand to tell us what to do. And that's banker, so that's another NM, no mirror, which means we're going to play a no mirror here. This is bet number 1 again, so it's for the 100, right? For the 100, and it's going to be a no mirror, so we're going to be betting banker. And we win our first bet again. All right, so we locked in another profit, and we're up the way that we are playing right now. We're already up 3 units. And the thing that I want you guys to see is, don't focus on the units that we're up as much as the fact of the money management is so simple that it's as close to flat betting. You could do flat betting if you want, or use my method with the half bets. But look at where we are and look at the bankroll you would have needed to do this. That's what the whole point is. I know people don't completely get that, and maybe you're just not trying it so you don't understand, but the point is you don't need to martingale, and you don't need a massive bankroll. So here we go. So we already won our 1 unit. We're just going to play these 2 out. Okay, here we go. So that was a player, so that would have been a win as well, right? Because it's a no mirror, and we'll do 1 more. And that is a banker, so that would have been a loss. All right, so we'll just put an L there, that's all, because we didn't really bet it. All right. Oh, actually, I'm sorry. We weren't supposed to be doing that. We were supposed to be doing, we were supposed to be putting this so we could go back and review it, the no mirror or the mirror, not a win or a loss. So here we go. So this was a win, so it was an NM, and this was a loss, so it was a mirror. That's the way we're supposed to be writing it in. I'm sorry, guys. So that's the deal. So that's an easier way to look at it. So there you go. So we're already up 3 units, which means if you were playing $100 units, which you can easily play because you don't need a big bankroll here, you'd be up 3 units right now. Let's do another row. Okay, so this is our freebie again. And it's banker, so it's another no mirror row. So here we go. We're going to bet $100 against the P, which means we're betting $100 on banker. And we lost. Okay, so that's an L -1. Okay, so now we're going to be betting our half bets. Remember, we're going to be betting our half bets because we lost our first bet. All right? So we're going to be betting for the no mirror here, which is a player, right, against the banker. And we're going to be doing $50 bets on player. And we win, right? So that is a no mirror. That's a win. Let's just put a W. It'll be easier for me to remember. Probably a better way to do this, but you guys can figure it out. And we do our second half bet. Remember, we do a second half bet. Doesn't matter whether we won or not with that money management. So again, we're going to be betting player because we're on a no mirror row. And we're going to be doing the same thing that we just did. 50 on player because it's opposite of the B up here. And let's go ahead and see if we get a player. And we did. Okay. So do you understand what's going on here? I'm not telling you this is exactly the way it works every time. You have to do a huge amount of samplings And don't tell me that you did it for 5 minutes in the casino and it lost. That's not a sampling. So I can't stand those ridiculous comments. That's not the way I sample. I do hundreds and hundreds of shoes before I ever play live. So if you go to the casino and you do this cold without even doing any simulations, I don't need to hear about it. That's on you, not on me. Okay, we did not win here. We broke even. So that should be a 0. Because we lost the full base unit here, and then we won 2 halves, which equals a 0. So do you see how great the money management pairs with a bet selection like this? Okay, look at this. No stress whatsoever. We're now up 3 units. Let's do another row. I think you guys got it, but we'll do another row, win or lose, just for the hell of it. I don't like to go crazy on these demos. I think you guys got the idea, but we'll go over the rules. But we'll do one more. We'll do one more. So this is another free hand, right? This is the free hand. And it's a player. So we're back on mirror for the first time, right? We're back on mirror. So we're going to be betting the same as these. So now we're going to do our number 1 bet, which is our full bet on player, which is going to be our $100 bet on player. And if we win, we're done. That's a tie. We just do it again. And we win. All right. So that is our win. We know we're locking in a full unit here. And there's our 4 units, right? There's our 4 units. And let's see what happens here anyway. But we're not betting here, but let's see. So we're going to continue with a mirror bet here. We're not going to bet, but let's just write these in to finish it out and see what would have happened here. So let's go ahead and deal. We're taking the free hand. We would have won again. Very interesting, guys. Very interesting. And here is our last one. Let's see. Again, this is a mirror bet. This would have been on banker. And it would have won it again. So, wow. So we won 4 units playing it even more conservative. If we would have played this with all 3 bets being played out, because we're betting so conservatively, I think we would have won an additional, let's see, we would have won an additional 2 units here, 2 units here. We wouldn't have won an additional here, so 2 units. And we would have won an additional here. So we would have doubled here. We would have made about, it looks like we would have made about 4 more units. We would have made 8 units in this small framework. Now, let's take a look. How many hands did we actually see? 31, and 3 of those were actually ties. So even doing it in our conservative way of if we won on the first one, we didn't take the extra bets, we still made $400 or 4 units, right? 4 units. If we would have done it the other way, it looks like we would have made an additional 4 units or so. We would have made 8 units in 31 hands. 31 hands. And the key here is, forget about that. The key is, what type of bankroll would we have even needed? Do you see how limiting the bankroll, how limited the bankroll needs to be when you're playing conservatively? Now, as our smart-ass commenter said the other day, well, you're never going to come back if you're doing half bets. Well, that's utterly ridiculous. You don't understand math. The point is not to double up and put yourself in a hole. The point is that even if you lost some of these rows, you would only be down a very limited number, and you would grind yourself back. If you don't have the patience and tolerance to be able to grind yourself back from being down a -3, -4, -5, then go ahead and martingale if that's what you want to do. But for people that actually understand money management, being down 3, 4, 5 is very different than being down 75% of your bankroll. So that's the story. You make the decision. How would you like to bet no more than your base bet, okay, and never be down more than 3, 4, 5, or 6 units probably on average at any time? That's why I show you guys this stuff. So that's what it is. So let's go over the rules one more time as to at least the way that I'm showing you here, okay? Number 1. you're going to use our money management, right? 3-bet situation. Whatever your base bet is, you're going to need to be able to do a half bet, which means that if you're online or you're playing live, you need to bet big enough. Your base bet needs to be big enough that the table minimum will support a half bet. Okay? So if the table minimum is $10, you can't bet $10 here because you can't do $5 half bets if the first one loses. You have to do a $20 minimum, let's say, to be able to do $10 bets here. All right? So just keep that in mind. And win, lose, or whatever, you're always going to do the second bets, the second and the third bet, based on this. If your first bet wins, you're going to bet win, lose, or draw the same on the second and third. If your first bet loses, you're going to bet half bets, win, lose, or draw on the other two, right? Ties don't matter. We don't care. We rebet on a tie. You guys know that. And here, we're going to wait for the first 4 results, right? We're going to do the first 4 results, okay? And then we're going to start with a free bet always in this column. The free bet in this column or free hand is to determine whether this is going to be a mirror or a no mirror row. This is my version of that type of bet selection. There's a lot of different ones out there. This is what I use, and it's worked very, very well for me. Okay, so you see what I'm saying, right? If it's the same, it's a mirror. If it's a banker and there's a player at the top, it's a no mirror for the rest of the bets in the column, in the row. Okay? Now what we did here was that if we won our first actual bet here, we stopped and we just took the next 2 bets as free bets. No real bets, free hands. And then got back here and did the free bet again. Test. See if you're going to do a conservative bet strategy like we did, whether in this sampling it would have worked out better, more money, more units made if you played it out win or loss in this column. Does that mean that that would hold out over 1,000 results? I don't have the answer to that. You're going to want to test that out and try it, as well as I'm going to test it out and try it. But I really like what I'm seeing. But I will tell you, if you want to be conservative, ultra conservative, do it the exact same way we just did it. Because you know my story, less bets is always the way I'm usually going to flow. But you know what? In this case, because we're almost flat betting, maybe you're missing out on too much profit here. We would have doubled our profit or close to it here. So there needs to be more testing here to evaluate this. Go ahead and do it. Let me know what you think. And this is kind of the thought process that we use at CruiseCasinoMafia.com. We're not always going to come up with something that no one's ever seen before, but we're going to look at things in our own light. We're going to compare things and tweak things and see what we can make out of it. No one is going to give you a different bet than tie, banker, player. That's what Baccarat is. So if you're looking for something that you've never seen before in any way, shape, or form, you're out of your mind. What we're doing is evaluating new concepts or evaluating concepts and ideas and tweaking them in various ways. Sometimes it's a minor tweak on the bet selection, and sometimes it's a tweak on the money management, okay? And sometimes it's on both. In this scenario, this is our way of doing what some people used to call the Hong Kong method, which was a little different than this. Okay, a little different than this. We put our own spin on it, and now we put our own spin on it by putting our own money management. Okay? That's what this is. Have a great day. I'm really excited about this. I'll tell you the truth. I didn't know how the two would pair together, and I think this is really exciting. And even though I'm going to stop the video here, guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to do a lot more simulating, just like you should do, and maybe take the weekend and do it and tweak it up because I like what I see. And this is the start of a brand new method for us, right? And that doesn't mean it's the Holy Grail. It means that there's something here that we need to continue to evaluate. And now I'll do 100 shoes using this method. And against real shoes, not Wizard. And we will see what the drawdown is, what's the ultimate highest negative that I see within a shoe, and we will see what our average units are within the shoe. The only other thing I will tell you is that the way that we review this, and again, this is not a concept I'm gonna tell you right now. This is a concept that many other people use, right? When we make a unit, if we lose the next one, we're not back to zero. You understand? The units we make are the units we make, right? When we get into a negative streak, we have to grind our way back out of that streak. It has nothing to do with the units that we've already made, okay? And that's something, and we'll give total credit here, as always, total credit for looking at it that way to Donny, right? Donny Millions. You guys know who Donny is. Donny's a good friend of the channel. Great guy. He's been around Baccarat for many, many years. And this is the way that you should always look at your money, right? It's not a positive and a negative going forward. We're not accumulating. We're looking at this as locked up units. And when we get into a negative, we have to grind back to zero to have the ability to get one. So that's something that Donny's always shown on his channel. And that's something that most of us do on a regular basis for years now. So if you get to a situation at the end of a shoe where you've made units, they're your units. If you get to the end of the shoe and you're at a negative at that moment, you're finishing the shoe with a grind, we just take that grind over to the next shoe, right? But we don't give up the units that we already made. So if you want to learn more about where that comes from, I will highly recommend taking a look at another YouTube channel, which is Donny's channel. And that's really easy. Let me see if I can pull, well, I don't need to pull it up. You guys know who Donny is. That's Black Chip Video, Black Chip Baccarat, Black Chip Video Club. Black Chip Video Club or Black Chip Baccarat, that's Donny's channel. It's been around for 1,000,000 years, does a lot of great stuff, a lot of free videos. Check it out. Another friend of the channel, happy to showcase him as well. So we use a lot of methods from a lot of different places, and then we put our own spin on them. So just quick shout out to him as well. And check out some of the new stuff he's doing as well over there. Some great stuff that's going on. With that being said, I hope you guys had a great time looking at this new mashup of ideas and concepts. I hope you get something out of it. I really do. But again, please always practice it. Always simulate it. Go to Wizard of Odds. Go to wherever you want to go and practice it for yourself. All right? And see if it works for you. Not every method is for everybody. Not every method meets your criteria and your objectives. But I really like what we did today. I think there's a core concept here that we can use moving forward. And this one might just have to have a second video. And I may end up doing that over the next couple of days because I really like what I'm seeing right now. Speak to you guys later. Have a great time. And we'll talk to you on the next one. Bye-bye.